Manor Lords just got a massive update, and with all the changes, I think now is the perfect time to start building a brand new city. If you're unfamiliar with Manor Lords, you're in for a treat. It's one of the best city building games I have ever played. It combines medieval city building and realistic combat into a seamless experience. Your goal is to build a small village and grow it into a thriving realm, all while fending off Hildebold, your arch nemesis, who's determined to claim every region on the map. Visually, the game is stunning. Arguably one of the best looking city builders ever. But it's not just about appearances. This game is innovative, featuring what I think is the best zoning system in any city builder to date. And here's the kicker. All this praise is for a game that's still in early access. Manor Lords isn't even done yet, and it's still better than a lot of city builders out there, and it's still evolving. Its solo-ish developer, Greg, aka Slavic Magic, is laser focused on community feedback. And to that end, we have the most recent update, which includes a host of bug fixes, gameplay improvements, and new features like bridges and upgraded buildings. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Previous updates have added fishing ponds, salt mines, butchers, pig farming, and more. The game engine was even upgraded from Unreal 4 to Unreal 5. A lot's changed since the last time I made a series in this game. Perhaps the most exciting part of this update is the addition of 2 brand new maps. High Peaks offers awe-inspiring terrain and abundant fishing ponds. It's a breathtaking setting for an idyllic medieval city. And Winding River, which, true to its name, features a powerful river that winds its way through the map's 7 regions. The new bridge building system is key to taming this waterway. So in this series, we're diving back into Manor Lords. We'll build on the High Peaks map and attempt to create the ultimate Manor Lord city. My goal is to make a city that is massive, stunningly beautiful, and makes use of everything this incredible game has to offer. And we absolutely have to obliterate Hildebold, because he is terrible. But before we can do that, we have to establish our initial village. We'll build today until we've stabilized our economy and constructed our manor. And if you're excited to dive back into Manor Lords, hit the like button and let me know if you've been playing in the comments below. Or if you're feeling bashful, leave an emoji representing medieval times for the sake of engagement. And without any further ado, let's jump right in. And here we are back in Manor Lords. We're gonna jump into a new game straight away, and I'm gonna point out new things as I see them, or things that are new to me anyway. I see that we've got 3 new characters here, and I really like this guy with the bowl cut, so I think we're gonna go with him. Hans, that's wonderful. We've also got some new options for our coat of arms, so I'm gonna try to come up with something fairly creative, and we'll go with that, a serpent and some chains. I like that. Next, we have our game setup screen, and I think the main difference here is that we now have different maps that we can select. So the default map that was available from the start of the game is now called Germanic Valley. We also have High Peaks and Winding River. We'll begin on High Peaks. We're also going to be playing a Restoring the Peace game, which means that we have Hildebold and we'll have random raider attacks. This is the default play setting, and we'll be playing at the default level. And we begin with our humble settlers camp. And it's really tempting to just start building right away, but I like to pause things and take inventory of what's around us. Now, I can see that we've got a little bit of stone right here, not all that much. We've got a wild berry deposit, a little bit there as well, a little bit of clay, and then 2 things that are much more interesting. This iron deposit, which is a rich deposit and has a ton of iron. Iron's really valuable. Helps you make weapons, you can sell it, and make a ton of money. So I think that the iron deposit is going to be the foundation of our economy. But the reason it's really interesting is because if you unlock the deep mining policy, it becomes an unlimited source of iron, so it can really feed your economy forever. So we're going to need to focus on this. The other thing that we have as a rich deposit is wild animals. Far less interesting. It'll give us some food early in the game, but it's not going to be enough. We're going to either need to trade for our food or farm a whole bunch. Now, speaking of farming, I like to take a look at our fertilities by going into the construction menu. We can see those. First things first, we've got underground water, very important to level up your buildings, and we don't have a lot of it. Second, we have emmer fertility, that is our wheat fertility. Not a lot of that. A little bit right here, a little bit right here, and a little bit down here in this valley area. For flax fertility, basically none. For barley, basically none. And for rye, honestly, not that bad. The problem with rye is you have to unlock the ability to plant it, so that might be something that we plan for in the future. Now, looking at the land that we have, again, we've got this plateau that we're on. You can see that there are really 3 places where we could be attacked. One is right here, one is right here, and the other is right here. So I kind of like this. I'm thinking that we'll build our city up here because of that, because if we're in the valley, we're kind of sitting ducks. But if we're up here, we can have some archers defending right here. We could have some of our melee units right here, and potentially fend off any attacks before they get up to our city. So hopefully we'll never burn down. Then the final thing I like to do is zoom out and take an inventory of the regions and where we sit relative to everything else. Right here, you can see we've got Hildebolt right on the side. We've got our region right here, and then 2 more regions to our east. I also see a bandit camp over here, and I'm going to want to go after that as quickly as I can. It's going to be a source of money and King's favor. And if we want to claim these 2 areas, we have to have King's favor. Now, in terms of the plan for our city in general, we have our King's Road right here, which we cannot modify at all. Now, one thing that's really funny about this, look at this. It goes straight up the hill. That is not exactly respecting the topography, but it just means that people in our city are going to have some beefy calves. But I like to build around the King's Road. It seems like a natural place to begin. So I think that our city is going to be focused on this area right here. I could see placing a church right here and then kind of emanating out, having a lot of our workplaces in this area. And I think that for the most part, everything will exist on the top of this plateau, with the exception of some farming in the future and our logging, which we don't really have many trees up here, and those that we do have, I don't want to cut them down. So our logging operation will probably be right about here. So with our plan in place, the first few things I want to focus on are going to be housing, food, and getting lumber. So I'm going to build all of those needs right away. First and foremost, we are going to build our logging camp. And like I mentioned, I want this to be right at the bottom of the hill. So I'll place this right about here. This will be fairly close to where our city is, and then we can log this whole area right here. I am going to specify the area that we're logging though, because I don't want them to wander up the hill and start knocking down trees over here. We're going to use that as both decoration and as a reason for adding roads in certain locations. Next, I want to add some of our food production, and I'm going to add a hunting camp right by this source of wild animals. And then we'll need to build a road to this. So I'm going to follow the contour lines. And then before I close this out, I'm going to hold down Control because I can adjust the road curvature. And I just want this to be nice and smooth. And that's pretty darn good. And then finally, we're going to need a little bit of storage. So I'm going to build that near this King's Road as well. We're going to have our trading post over here, so it makes sense to have some of our storage next to this as well. So I'm going to right away place a granary and a storehouse. Now the granary is going to help us store all of our food. The storehouse will help us store everything else. And the interesting thing is, in this version of the game, these have even more importance than they had in the past. Now they're the only way that you can stock a marketplace. So we have to make sure that these are staffed and that we have them. Otherwise, getting resources around the map is going to be really, really challenging. Now, I'm going to build a road over to our settlement camp, and then we'll get things going. But I want to provide a bit of priority, and the highest priority is going to be to our hunting camp and to our logging operation. And now we'll resume and get these things building. And our first building is finally constructed. It took a little while, but that's kind of to be expected this early on in the game. Now we've also got a message here, and of course it's from Hildebolt. He's heard of our renown. He only seeks to defend his rights and honor against those who would wrong him. Of course, we would never do that, and he would never do that to us. We'll write him back, and there's only one thing that we can say, and that is threaten him. So we're going to obviously do that. And now I want to assign a family to this logging camp. And the concept of families is really important in Manor Lords. So up here, you can see the number of families that you have that are unassigned. And you can also see the number of families that you have assigned to things. So families are assigned to jobs. So these little slots right here represent a family. And when I add a family to this slot, you'll see that there are multiple people that end up working here. And we always want to make sure that there's one unassigned family so that construction can still occur, because unassigned families are the people who are building things. So now we've got a family getting some lumber, and I want to make sure that we're not logging everything. So I'm going to go underneath advanced and set our work area, because right now they'll go wherever they want to go. If I hold down control, I can change the size of this, and I will set it to basically this entire area right here. The other thing I want to do, I'm going to go a little construction happy, is I'm going to build a hitching post right here. I'm doing this because I think having another ox will speed up our construction. So I'm going to actually make this, again, our highest priority. And then as soon as this is built, we are going to buy another ox, which will take a little while. In the meantime, I just want to see, yeah, we're starting to construct these buildings over here, which is fantastic. And as far as this hunting camp goes, it's already been constructed, so we'll assign another family right here. We can see that we have a deficit of 5 homes. So we need to build at least 5, and if we want to have more people move into our community, probably more than that. So I'm going to build in this area, and the idea is going to be that there's a church right here, and then our community kind of emanates out from there. I think for our first homes, we'll place them right across from the church, and I just love the way that you build homes in this game. You select 4 points, and it'll fill those areas in, and you can completely customize it from here. So with our current configuration right here, we get 4 homes, and behind those homes, we could have some sort of workers use. So if we wanted to have a pig farm or an orchard or grow vegetables or chickens, we could do that back here. If we hit the minus, we can make these lots larger. And if we go even bigger, we can have some accessory dwelling units on our lots, which means that these lots will be twice the size, but have 2 homes each. So these will consume 1 resource because it's 1 parcel, but we can have 2 families living there. Now this is going to be just 2 families to begin with. We'll have to upgrade it to get to the 4 families. So I'm going to build some more homes, but I want to leave lots of pedestrian connections through here. So I'm going to draw that road, and I think I might even wrap this road back here a little bit. And again, follow that tree line. And actually, let's redo that. To do that, I'll just hold down Alt and click the road, and then I can remove it. And now I'll add some homes right behind these ones facing in the opposite direction. And I love this one. You can see that we have the potential of having 6 families here and a whole bunch of spaces for accessory uses. And then the other thing I want to think about right away is this berry patch right here. The berries will disappear when winter hits, so we really only have a short window where we can actually collect these. Considering it's a good source of food and a bit of variety, we should go after them right away. So we'll place a forager's hut right here. Now I'm going to increase the priority of this so that this gets built right away, and then we'll assign a family to this immediately. Now that this is constructed, I'm going to assign a family to it immediately, and then we have to let our homes build out. And that's because we only have 5 families right now, and the only way that we're going to get more is to have a high level of happiness and some homes available for people to move into. And we finally have homes for everyone, and we've leveled up to level 1, which means that we get a development point, which is really exciting. Now, early on, I don't like to spend these. The policies that I like the most are deep mining, as well as policies like trade logistics and better deals. These are policies that are going to help our economy in the long run, and in my opinion, they're the most valuable policies in the entire game. So I'm going to hold off on approaching anything in that menu for a while. We'll just hold on to our development points. We also have a message here, and it looks like we have to start to think about being attacked. So we have to form our militia so that we can defend ourselves. This will also give us the opportunity to go and attack some of those bandit camps. Now for that, we just have to go underneath army and create a militia. We have some spears available, so we could probably create a spear militia. Now this is not going to be good enough to attack the bandit camps. The bandit camps have a max of 18, and this is going to be a strength of 10 for us. So we're going to want to not attack them just yet. However, there is a lot that we can do. Now that everyone is homed, we could start to think about expanding our community in terms of its population. And that's exactly what I want to do. I'm going to level up our burgage plots by adding additional living space. This will make it possible for more families to move into the community, and I want to think about that up front. So I'm going to do that for 2 of these. I don't want to overdo it just yet. It's not going to allow people to move in anyway because our happiness is below 50%. The other thing we've got to think about is fuel. Right now, we've got plenty of food to exist for the next year or so, but we've only got fuel for 5 months, and that'll end us in November or so. Not exactly the time you want to run out of firewood. So I'm going to build a woodcutter's lodge, and I think I want to keep that up here. Considering we've got our storehouse over here, there's not a big problem in having some of those uses up here. So I think I'll place that right about here. I'm going to move this hitching post by relocating this, and I'll bring this closer to the center of our community. The other thing that we have to think about is leveling up these buildings and making people happy. To level up the buildings, we've got to have all of these needs met. And one that you can see that we're not meeting at all is water access. This is an important one, and I think that we should take care of it right away. For that, we'll build a well, and the well will provide drinking water to 15 burgage plots. This is actually, I believe, reduced from what it used to be, but it's still a pretty good number. Now, we are going to have to place this kind of out in the middle of nowhere, which is a little bit of a bummer, but it's going to be completely fine. One of the interesting things about this is it now has an upgrade. So if we want to take that from 15 burgage plots up to 30, we just have to upgrade it. And then the other thing I want to think about is building a saw pit. A whole bunch of buildings in the game now require planks. Now, there were some that required it before, but it's basically everything now. So if we don't have a saw pit, we're going to be in a really rough spot in short order. And I will speed along all of these buildings because I care about this more than I care about the upgrades to our burgage plots. Oh, our little industrial park is looking fantastic out here. So now that we have that, I'm going to assign one family to the woodcutter's lodge. This is going to be highly temporary. We are going to likely remove them at some point once we have enough of a stockpile built up. Then we'll switch gears and start to work on our saw pit, but that's coming down the line. You'll notice right away, though, our happiness is starting to improve. The only reason we're below 50% at this point is that people remember being homeless and they're not happy about it. That'll improve with time. So now I want to take a look at some of these. You can see that we are currently upgrading this burgage plot, but we have these 3 over here where we could add a backyard extension. Now at this point, one of the things that we're waiting on is going to be our planks. So I'm going to upgrade maybe one of these to have a vegetable garden. And then I've got to wait for planks if I want to have a chicken coop or raise pigs or goats or something of that nature. And considering you can only place one upgrade at a time, I think I will upgrade these to have extra living space. And now that all of these have constructed, we've effectively doubled the number of people that can live in our community. But no one's going to move in until our approval is a little bit higher, and that's going to take a couple of months. So I just want to see, our berries over here have dried up. So I'm going to remove our forager from right over here, and I'm going to assign someone to collect everything and move it over here. And then we're also going to build a marketplace, which I hope will make people here happier. Now I'm going to make this marketplace fairly small, and that is a bit of a reaction to the change in this version of the game. You don't need nearly as many market stalls because the only places that are actually going to set up shop are going to be our granary and our storehouse. All of the accessory uses, all these homes, they can't set up a market stall. Only these folks here can. So that means you have to have someone assigned here, otherwise nothing gets set up. So now that we do have these set up, in short order, we should have 2 stalls set up shop here. One for general goods and the other for food. Now, I'll be completely honest, I love this change. It's so much more predictable. I know that the market doesn't feel as full as it used to, but I know exactly why these are here. And I know exactly what I can do to get them here if I don't have any at all. So huge improvement in my mind. Now, the next thing I want to do is take a look at our timber, and we've got a decent amount. So I think that for the time being, I'm going to turn off our logging camp and remove our livestock. It looks like they did that automatically. And instead, we're going to focus on planks. And that's because we really need planks if we're going to be able to add a ton of buildings. So everything from our mine right here to our chicken coop in the backyard, we can't do anything unless we have some planks. Now, the other issue is that we don't have any families available to actually guide the oxen, so we may have to reassign somebody. We've got a lot of food, so I'm thinking that we're going to take away this person at the hunting camp and force them instead to guide oxen. And winter is finally here, so I'm going to slow things down because I've noticed that we've got 9 months of supplies. And the significance of that is I want to take away someone from this woodcutter's lodge and assign them somewhere else. What I'm thinking is I want to see how many planks we have. We have 15, which should be enough to get us going on our mine. I'm going to go for that immediately. And I want to do that because that'll help us build weapons and give us something to trade. In addition to that, we're going to build our trading post. And I'm going to build that fairly close to the King's Road, maybe right near our storehouses. And actually, I'm going to pull back from that. I can see that we've got some terrain right here. That's not ideal. I think that that is not necessarily the path of least resistance. This ridge might mean that the road goes all the way down to here. And now I'll add that trading post right about here. I'm going to face this towards all of our storage. And then I once again want to look at our burgage plots to see what we need. And it looks like the only things that we're missing are church access and clothing stalls. So I want to make sure that we are focusing on those. And for clothing, it's going to be as simple as building a tannery. Now, even though smell isn't in the game right now, I know that it will be at some point. So I'm going to take this and place it really far away in our little business park. So I'll place that right there. And I'm going to speed this one up. It is winter after all. And then finally, we have our church to contend with. And I want to see how far we are away from being able to do this. 20 planks. So not all that far away. But one of the things that we're going to run out of before we get there, or as soon as we get there, will be lumber. So I'm going to start logging once again. And I'll once again assign livestock to that logging camp. And I can almost smell the urine through the screen because that's what would have been used to tan the leather right here. So now that that is complete, I want to see, yeah, we're at 49% approval. So as these other things build out, we should start to approach the area where we'll start to add to our population, which is going to be really valuable because right now we can't assign workers to any of these new facilities. Our happiness has been bobbing in between 49% and 51%, and apparently it's not staying above 51% long enough to get people to move in. So I want to turbocharge our happiness by adding a church. So I think that we probably have the resources for that now. Indeed we do. I'm going to place that right here, and this should be exactly what we need to do two things. Number one, really supercharge our happiness, and number two, maybe even level up some of our homes. And my goodness, what a beautiful location for this church. It really demonstrates what a wonderful map this is. Just the views that you get from up here would be outstanding. And I like that this is a public use because of that, because then everyone in the community can come and enjoy this. Now, all of that said, our happiness is now at 55%. People like the market food variety. Homelessness is becoming something that's in the rearview mirror. And we finally have a new family moving into the area, which is outstanding. Also got a new message, and it looks like a band of raiders is roaming nearby lands. We're going to track their movements. We'll have to be ready for them in about a year, so something to keep in mind. I need to make sure that someone is collecting food because we currently only have food for 4 months. I'm also going to build some more homes, and we're going to focus on the church and build around the church. And that is what I was waiting for. We had another family move in, and that is going to be incredibly critical for our economy. And that's because we can finally assign someone to the tannery and start to produce some clothing. Now, if we look at all these buildings, yeah, the only thing that we're missing is a clothing stall, which is just the general market stall. So all we have to do is have clothing at our little market right here, and we are going to level up. I've also added one more burgage plot right here, our accessory unit, and we are going to have so much availability for homes once everything builds out. That also means that we're going to have a huge need for food, so I want to add some of our accessory uses here. And now that we have planks, I can add a chicken coop behind this home. I would like to add something to this home as well, but the only thing that we could add is an animal pen, and we don't actually have any regional wealth to purchase an animal. It's the exact same reason that we can't add a chicken coop or a vegetable garden. We have to have regional wealth to be able to purchase those. And we won't be able to generate any regional wealth until we either have level 2 buildings or we start trading. We've had another family move in, which is really exciting, but I'm not sure where I want to assign them yet. Now, I think that we can start to level up these homes. We can if we have enough planks. We don't currently have enough, and I have a sneaking suspicion that I'm actually fighting against myself right now because I'm using a whole bunch of wood to build all these burgage plots, and that means that we have less wood for our saw pits. So what we're going to do is beef up our logging camp. I think that we'll add another family into the mix here, and hopefully that solves our supply chain bottleneck. All of our construction projects have finally wrapped up, and we have 2 new families that have moved into the area. Now, I want to assign them to something, but one of the things I'm noticing is that we are about to run out of fuel. So I think our top priority is going to be assigning someone to the Woodcutter's Lodge. And then it's currently August, which means that our berries are going to be depleted soon. I think I'm going to add someone here so that we can collect those berries before winter. And then I want to once again look at our planks, only 3. I think what I'll do here is assign an ox to our saw pit, and hopefully that will start generating these things faster. Now, a couple of months have passed, and I think that we've got enough planks to start upgrading some of our buildings. So I'm going to upgrade the couple that we built first. And look at that. We have enough to upgrade both of these and basically no more. Now, the other thing I've been noticing is that we're getting lots of notifications that Hildebolt is walking around. And my goodness, he already claimed a land, which is really frustrating, but not at all surprising. Now, we've got this bandit camp right here, and I'm thinking that we will try to clear that. And I think, oh wow, now we've got 20 soldiers, plenty to do it. So I'll go right to the area right here. We'll rally our troops. So there we go. We have our valiant spearmen over here, and we are going to attack the bandit camp. There's a chance it's clear because Hildebolt was just over here. So we'll just bring our troops straight in and see what happens. Very, very clear. They're just kind of hanging out here and doing nothing. So I've got to figure out why they're not clearing this. I got to right mouse click it. That'll do it. But with that, that gives us some money after we read this message. And I'm going to send the money to our treasury. The main reason for that is if we need to purchase any mercenaries, now we've got a little bit of money to do that. So that's going to be incredibly valuable for us. And honestly, now it's starting to feel like we're cooking with fire. You can see that we've got more families that have moved in, and we're going to send them straight to the mines because this is going to be how we generate a ton of money. We now have our first 2 level 2 burgage plots, and this is a really important milestone for a few reasons. Level 2 burgage plots generate regional wealth. Regional wealth is what you can use for trading, and if you have a manor built, you can tax regional wealth and add that balance to your treasury, which in turn you can use to purchase mercenaries. So if you want to defend your city or you want to trade, this is a way that you can do it. In addition to that, we've also leveled up our city. We now have a medium village, which gives us another development point. Now that's really important to me because the policy that I want to unlock is the second policy in the mining tree, deep mining. This is a really important policy if you have a rich ore deposit or a rich salt deposit because a deep mine will never deplete. So this is a way to basically have unlimited money. But it's tucked away underneath charcoal burning, so we're going to unlock both of these. Now, the other route that I was considering going was down the trade tree, where I'd really love to unlock trade logistics, which cuts the cost of establishing a new trade route in half, as well as better deals, which reduces the tariffs by half. So if you want to have an economy based on trade, I really think that these 2 trees are absolutely critical to pursue. Now, you might think that I'm just going to upgrade our mine, but I've been giving this some thought, and I think I made a mistake with where I placed the mine. The mine is right in the center of our deposit, and I forgot that you don't have to do that. You can actually place your mine on the side of the deposit and then upgrade it, and if we play our cards right, potentially have 2 deep mines, mining twice as much ore, twice as fast, generating twice as much money. So I'm going to eliminate this mine and then build new ones on the side. The one issue that we're going to have is that our supplies are located right in the center of this. So we've got 4 planks that are going to block us from placing these right away. But I do think that if I play my cards right, I can probably fit 1. I just have to make sure I turn off snapping to the road, and indeed, I can fit 1 right here. Now, while we're waiting for this to be constructed, there are a few things that are on my mind. First, I'm noticing that the raiders are going to be here in 135 days, so I want to keep an eye on that because about 10 days out from their arrival, I want to pay for some mercenaries. We do have 170 gold in the treasury, so we should be able to buy some. But just in case, I want to start to think about trade, and I'm going to start trading away that iron ore even though we haven't finished our deep mine. So for this, I'll look at our trading post. I'm going to add 1 employee here. I will find the iron ore and begin to export it. So I want to make sure that I have at least 50 on hand because in the future, I will craft this into something better. Tools, weapons, whatever. But for now, this is the best I can do. And honestly, anything that I could do that's slightly better isn't worth all that much more. Once we have a bit of regional wealth, I'll buy a dedicated trade route so this goes a lot faster. And then I want to take a look at our manor. Now, one thing I'm noticing that we're missing is stone, and we don't have easy access to more stone without adding a cutting camp. So I'm going to add that right away because we have all the materials for this. We've only got 120 or so stone right here, so this should deplete relatively quickly. So I'm going to set the priority to highest for this and hopefully deplete the 120 stone in just a couple of minutes. And while that's being constructed, I'm going to take a look at our mine, which appears to be done, and see what it's going to take to get a deep mine. It looks like we need 50 regional wealth, and that makes me think that maybe that limit that we have over here at our trading post needs to be eliminated. We don't necessarily need to have all of that iron ore right now, so I'm going to say the moment that we get iron ore, trade it away because I need the money. And then finally, there's one more thing that I think we could build. To get to our next settlement level, we need to have 3 more level 2 burgage plots. And I think that we have enough planks to make this happen, so I'm going to find 3 burgage plots and get them upgraded. And now we have our stonecutter camp, and this should deplete this little bit of stone really quickly. So I'm just going to assign 2 workers here, and I might even scour to see if there are any others that we can assign here. For instance, our forager's hut, there's nothing going on here. So I'll remove that worker and add them over here. Back over by our mine, I see that our little supplies stash is gone. So I'm going to add our second mine over here. And with that, we've reached another important milestone. We've reached level 3 with our settlement. So that means we get another policy. And we are now in a spot where we have stone. And in fact, we've only got 6 stone left over here, which means we are well on our way to building our manor. Now, for our manor, I've been thinking about placing it right over here. This seems like the ideal location for a couple of reasons. First, we'd be deploying our military from really close to where our King's Road is. Second, it would offer a great view of anyone coming to attack us. And then third, it's got a great view. And if I'm the Lord, I want to sit right over here and take a look at all of this splendor. This would be beautiful. So I'm going to place that right about here. And I'm not going to get greedy with this building. It's really tempting to start adding a bunch of stuff onto our castle, but we can do this down the line. So for now, I want to do the bare minimum, and we will commit to building just this little shack off on the side of the cliff right here. And now our stone deposit has been completely exhausted, so I can demolish the stonecutter camp. All of our stone is still sitting right here, so it'll still be put away, and I can reassign those workers over to our mines. So I've got 3 at this mine and 2 at this mine, and they're going to be extracting things very, very rapidly. That's going to allow us to trade, but our trade routes are still going to be kind of slow. And that's because we don't have a dedicated trade route to our ore, which is something we're going to want to purchase as soon as we can. And we also don't have a horse. So I want to get to 60 regional wealth, and then we will upgrade the 2 of these. And after that, we will upgrade our mines because it'll be much faster to get regional wealth. And I can't believe it. Hildebold is claiming the remaining region of the map. You know, if I were really reckless, I would declare war. But knowing that we just don't have any troops and we don't have any money, we're going to let him do what he has to do. We'll attack him later on. Now I'm going to slow things down for a minute because we are currently 10 days away from the raiders getting to our city. So we've got to hire some mercenaries because our army is tiny. But I will rally our army. I'll place them right about here. And then we'll hire some mercenaries. So we'll go to create units and then hire mercenaries. Unfortunately, all that we have are expensive mercenaries. So we'll get the Wayward Sons and the Battle Brothers. And honestly, with the 2 of them, we should absolutely overwhelm these raiders. I'm going to take our archers and line them up right about here. And I'm really hoping that the raiders come from this way. As far as the spearmen go, I will send one group over here and the other group right on the other side. And then for our spear militia, I'll line them up right here. Now there's a wild card. We're just a little ways away from our manor being constructed, so our retinue might be available to us as well. So there's no way that we are going to be overwhelmed by a couple of raiders. The other thing I noticed is that we now have 75 regional wealth. And like I mentioned, we've got to purchase a horse, and I really want to purchase a dedicated trade route for our iron ore. This will get our ore out of here a ton faster. Now we're also going to need to upgrade our hitching post right here, otherwise we're likely going to run out of space. So I'll make this a high priority construction project. And now the raiders are near. I'm not 100% sure where they are coming from, but oh, there they are. And all of that hubbub over one sad little raider group over here. So, there's another one behind them. So we should be able to take care of them. Honestly, I don't even know that we needed to hire all these guys because our manor is basically done. We're just a couple of stone away. But I am going to slow things down, and we're going to take these archers and I want to line them up right over here. Oh, no. They're going the wrong way. Come up this way, run to the position, and then regroup right over here. And I think that we can probably take all of our other troops and do the same thing. I'm going to take the spear militia, which we're going to line up over here, and I'll take them down here. And then I'll take our hired hands and we'll put them all. I'm actually going to move them down here. It looks like they're following the road. And I'm going to take my spear militia and back them up because I don't want to lose my own troops. And look at that. They were goaded by the archers over here and they moved. So I guess we're dancing right now. I'll take these infantry and move them back. And then I'm going to take my spear militia and we're just going to leave them right here. If anyone comes around this way, we are protected. Oh no, I completely sent them to the wolves. That was not what I meant to do. Oh no, they're going to be slaughtered. Fall back, guys, fall back. And hopefully we can get these spearmen there in time. And easy peasy, lemon squeezy, we got rid of them. We're good to go. Now, I believe that there was one more group, and I'm not sure where they went. They're right down there, so we do have to worry about them. I'm going to grab our archers, and I will line them up right here. And then all of our ground troops, we're going to send them out this way. And these guys were broken because we ran out of money. That's no good. That's no good at all. And I don't know what's happening over here. But oh no, they are coming around the back end. So I'm going to grab our retinue and rally them right here. This is not how I wanted to use them, obviously. We've also got our archers. I'll send them right here. And I'm not sure what they're doing. It's like they're running away. And I think that they put themselves in a very disadvantaged position. I'm not really sure what they were thinking there. But we are going to push forward and then take our elite troops and come at them from the side. And we broke them. Thank goodness, because they nearly broke me. I'm out of money. So I'm going to disband our paid for units. Now disband these guys as well. And now that the manor is complete, we really need to start to think about collecting taxes. So we've got 2 taxes available to us. We've got the land tax, which is basically taxing regional wealth to add it to our treasury so that we can pay for mercenaries. And we've also got tithing, which takes a portion of our surplus food and converts it into influence. And if we want to claim regions, we absolutely must have influence. But before we apply either of these, we have to prepare. That means that we have to make sure we have excess food and that our citizens are happy, because taxing them will make them unhappy. So to that end, I'm going to add someone to our foragers' hut so that we're generating extra food, and I'm going to clean up all these bodies. The reason why I wanted to make sure we're not upsetting them is we're going to lose 5% of our happiness by increasing the taxes. If we go any higher, that predicted approval loss increases. Now, it is predicted. It can be higher or lower. So I'm going to start out at 10 and we'll see where we go from there. We also now have 178 regional wealth. So I want to make sure that we convert these right away to deep mines. So 50 for this one and 50 for this one, but we need our 10 planks before we can do that. We now have the planks to upgrade this to a deep mine, and our other deep mine has been completed. So we are on our way to having unlimited money. This is fantastic. And now that our 2 deep mines are complete, we basically have the potential for unlimited money. That said, I purchased that trade route and I forgot to unlock the policy, which is something that I deeply regret. So we will unlock this policy, and that will make all of our trade route purchases half the price that they were before. So if we go into our trading post and try to buy another route, you can see that the prices are much more reasonable. And this is really important because the cost of a trade route goes up every time you buy one. Now, the other thing that I'm noticing is that we are having issues with storage. Now, our granary is actually empty, so that must be for another building. But I'm guessing, yeah, our storehouse is basically full. So I'm going to upgrade this to a large storehouse. Just need a couple of wood and a couple of planks for that one. And then as far as our pantry, that's actually over here at our forager's hut. So to resolve this, we're going to want to make sure that we have enough employees over here at our granary. I don't have any extras though, but I think if I remove the person we have here at the wooden church and assign them to the granary, we should be in a better spot. And now that our large storehouse is complete, hopefully we can take all of this storage that is exposed to the elements and move it right on in here. But reasonably, I think that that's going to take quite a while because I think that our storehouse was full for a bit. So I'm going to let that occur naturally over time. I do want to point out one thing. Check out our regional wealth. We are generating a ton of money right now, and this is exactly what I wanted to do. I think that we could crank this up even higher by processing some of this iron ore, but I think that that is something for the next episode, where I think that we're going to have to think about our food supply, think about making tools and weapons, and really think about self-defense. And I thought it might be nice to wrap up with a first-person tour around the community. This is one of Manor Lords' really killer features, something I didn't know that I want in a city builder, but after having it in Manor Lords, I want it in every single city builder. The only reason it's able to do this, though, is just how incredibly detailed it is. Every single blade of grass, every flower, the roof tiles, the people, everything looks outstanding. And it really showcases this map. I mean, just look at this. The mountain cliffs, the sky, everything out in the distance, it all looks absolutely outstanding. Now, our village isn't much to look at just yet, but let me tell you, I have really good feelings about where we're going with this thing. I feel like this is going to be a really special place in the near future, and that's because we've done a little bit of planning, and we've really set ourselves up in a good place with the economy, and that was really the primary goal in this episode. And because of that, I think that this is the right place to leave it, and I really hope that you've enjoyed this one. If you did, please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. And I really want to thank you for your time today. There's a million things that you could have been doing. You decided to hang out with me and play a bit of Manor Lords, and for that, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining me, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.